In the next 16 minutes, I'll teach you how to play the Bluey theme song on the piano, the whole thing with both hands. Now, if you're just starting with the piano, you might want to check out this video first. It's a tutorial on how to play just the melody of the Bluey theme tune. It's a little bit simpler to get started with. But if you're ready for a challenge, stick around. This is where I think the real fun is. So let's dive in and learn how to play Bluey with both hands. Now this lesson is based on a version I found that sounds really close to the original. You'll find a link to the sheet music in the description if you think that might help. But now there's a lot of talk about the quirky rhythm in this song. We've got time signatures that jump around from 4/4 to 7/8 to 5/4. But don't worry, I've been teaching music since 2008 and I love making tricky things easy to learn. And that's what I'm going to do for you right now. So here's how we're going to break this down, just like I would for one of my students. First, we're going to look at the rhythm and the patterns in the right hand, a bit like we did in the easy video, but a bit more quickly. Then we're going to look at the key and why that's important, but we're going to add a little twist this time. We're going to recap the bits of the right hand and add some new parts of the right hand. And then we're going to get onto the left hand. What patterns can we see there? And finally, the really exciting bit, how we can combine both hands together. So make sure you stick around for that. So how many rhythms do you think you need to learn for this? 4, 5, 6? Since it sounds so quirky, we might think lots of them, right? Wrong. There are only 2 rhythms. Maybe you saw that in my easy video I mentioned earlier. So let's learn those 2 rhythms now using some Bluey phrases. The first one goes like this. Bluey and Bingo playing funny games. Then it repeats, but just cuts it off earlier. Bluey and Bingo playing. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's do that together. 1, 2, off we go. Bluey and Bingo playing funny games. Bluey and Bingo playing. Now the second rhythm is this. Mum and Dad and Bingo. It's a bit shorter. Then it repeats it and cuts it off early, just like the last one. Mum and Dad. Okay, so it's Mum and Dad and Bingo. Mum and Dad. That's the right hand rhythm. Now, if you want to pause and practice those, do so until they're easy and then come back to me. Okay, so that's the rhythm for the right hand nailed. You're getting there. Let's keep going. So some people teach this song in C major to avoid using black keys. But if you're like me, you want to learn it just like the real thing, right? So to do that, we need to learn it in E major, or as I like to call it, Bluey major. Now don't worry if you're not sure what that means, E major. We're going to tackle that another day. But for now, I would just like you to play the scale of E major with your right hand. Because in doing that, you'll be playing all of the notes that you need in the melody of the Bluey theme. So let's go and have a look. Okay, so here is the scale of E major. Now that might feel a little tricky at first, but keep at it until it's easy. Notice how my thumb comes under for that A there. And this is really showing us what notes we're going to be using for the melody. I'll show you that in a second. But just imagine these notes glowing in front of you. Those are the notes we're going to be using. And I said there'd be a little bit of a twist, didn't I? Well, why not play the E major scale with the rhythm of the Bluey theme? Bluey and Bingo playing funny games. Bluey and Bingo playing. You don't have to do it in one specific way, but using the rhythm in fun and creative ways like that is great. Mum and Dad and Bingo. Mum and Dad. Do what you like with that, but just anything to make it become easy to play. So, we know that this song is fast, but that's not a problem. As long as we learn it right the first time, we'll be fine, whatever the speed. Now, let's go ahead and look at that right hand melody on the piano, but I'm going to add some new bits today for this more advanced lesson. Okay, so let's get cracking. We're going to start up here on the G sharp with our middle finger. Bluey and Bing go playing funny games. And if you want to sound fancy, you can add a little, what we call a grace note at the beginning. That's actually found in the original theme, so it'll sound even more realistic if you do that. Bluey and Bing go playing funny games. Bluey and Bing go playing. Just like we said earlier with the rhythm, it just cuts off early, that second part. So that's the right hand. Just make sure you start with your middle finger. Bring your middle finger over as well. And that last bit, particularly as we speed up, you just need to make sure that you practice this well. Here's a top tip for you. Play it like hot keys, okay? So play it like staccato. We call that staccato. And it helps when you speed up. It really helps if you can first do it staccato. So that's the first bit. Then the next part is down here. There are some chords like this that we add in. But first of all, here we go. Mum and Dad and Bingo. Mum and Dad. Okay, so that's that section. Now this is the new section that I'm going to add in this video that I didn't do in the easy one, but it's very similar. Bluey and Bingo playing funny games. Bluey and Bingo playing. Okay, so this is our third section basically. See how it's quite similar? It's the same as up here, but it's just down in the lower position. And then here we have a chord. And there as well, okay? Back to 3. Now let's do the next one. And that's it. That's the end. So here, these are called thirds in music. We call these thirds. They might take a bit of practice to get comfortable. You don't want to be going like this and make them like that. Try and keep them as neatly together as you can. And that is the right hand. Now, before I play all of those parts together, the whole thing through, just the right hand, remember that there are those sneaky breaks when Bluey and her family freeze in that game of musical statues. I've made a whole video about how simple that whole thing is. You should definitely go and check that out later. But for now, all we need to do is count 1, 2, 3. Let me show you. One, two, three. Now, adding the left hand can take a bit of time. It did for me, but it's so worth the effort. So let's break down the left hand rhythms first of all. Now, just like the right hand, we have only 2 basic rhythms, and they're quite similar to the right hand. So let's clap them again with some words. So the words are, take a look at my hand, listen and copy it. Did you get that? So let's do it again. Take a look at my hand. Listen and copy it. Now, basically, we have that same rhythm used in 4 different ways. What that means is the rhythm is the same, but it's used with 4 different note patterns. It shows how clever Bluey's composer, Geoff Bush, was with repetition in music. So let's go through those patterns on the piano, and I'll show you how it works out in those different patterns. Let's go. So let's have a look at how that rhythm works on the piano. We start here with our thumb on the E. And top tip, when you go to the B, remember to use your thumb there. That helps you go down to that low note. Take a look at my hand. Here, we're going to use our thumb and our middle finger for this chord. And we go, listen and copy it. Listen and copy it. So did you notice it's actually the same kind of rhythm as the beginning? Take a look becomes listen, and it's the same rhythm right there, but the different part comes afterwards. Copy it. And when I was learning this, I remember I felt like this copy it came in a bit earlier than I expected it to. So maybe you might feel the same way. Don't worry, that's part of learning it. Listen and copy it. Let's look at the next bit. Take a look at my hand. You see, that next part has the same rhythm. Now, I should say there is a cheeky little fill-in after that that does that. That's all that's different. So it goes, take a look at my hand. There it is. And then it goes again. Listen and copy it. So that section again. Take a look at my hand. Listen and copy it. Then we have the third section. Notice the same rhythm being used. Now, if those big stretches called octaves are too tricky for you to play, just do the lower note. Why not? Now let's look at the fourth section. You can hear each time the rhythm is the same. The notes are different, yes, but the rhythm is the same. Now, combining both hands can be tough. For me though, what worked was to tap out the rhythms slowly on my legs. Let me show you how I did that. So this is what I did to learn the coordination. And remember, because of those repeating patterns, you don't have lots to learn here. You just need to learn this really, really well. So here's the first one, which is the Bluey and Bingo playing funny games. Okay, I'm going to do it really slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Both, right, both, right, left, both, right, right. And remember, that part repeats, but is cut short a little early. Let me show you. 3, 4. Both, right, both, right, left, both. Now I'll put those bits together for you. Ready? 1, 2, off we go. Both, right, both, right, left, both, right. Both, right, both, right, left, both. And now the second section, we don't really need to worry as much about the coordination here because it's the same in both hands apart from the fill-in and at the end of that section. So we go mum and dad and bingo, filling mum and dad. The left hand's added. So how was that? Easy? Tricky? I'd love to hear how it's going in the comments. Now, let's try moving it to the piano, shall we? Okay, so here on the piano, let's go through and really slowly show you how those hands go together. Here's the first section. One, two, three. Let's do the second section. Now let's do the third section. Now let's do the final section. Now before I play the whole thing through for you, I just wanted to say, well done. If you've clapped or tapped along with me, or even been trying things on your piano whilst you've been watching, you'll realise that it does take time to learn properly. But you can definitely do it. Anybody can. Just keep at it, be patient, enjoy the little bits of progress you make. Now, let me play the whole thing through, slowly and then more quickly. 1, 2, 3. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed this and want more videos.